All right, it's Sunday, October 21st, and there's a lot to talk about in the world of Houston sports. We are hours removed from the Texans taking first place in the AFC South. They beat the Jacksonville Jaguars 20 to 7, and we're days removed from the Houston Astros being eliminated from the MLB playoffs by the Boston Red Sox, which was a heartbreaker to watch. But I am John Fuentes. I'm here with my co-host James Ray. This is the J and J Houston Sportscast. James, how are you doing today?
Bienvenue. I'm doing good, man. How are you?
It could be better. I'm still sore, as a lot of people are from the Astros loss, but the Texans win today really lifted me up a bit. But we'll talk about the Astros like we usually do in the second half of the show. First, let's start with Houston, with the Texans. Um, Big win today. I didn't expect this game to go the way it did at all. I thought we were going to be in for a dogfight or for a pounding, one or the other. But the Texans handled Jacksonville pretty easily en route to a 27 win. There was a story. Well, let's talk about this first. One of the bigger stories heading into the week was Andre Hall. He's back. He had cancer, battled his way back. He's in remission, and I honestly thought it was going to take him a longer time. I thought they were going to really push the limit with how, like, bring him back at the very very last second that they were eligible to do so. But this guy is right back in it, played, and I mean it's a pretty awesome story to think this guy just beat cancer and is jumping back into the NFL to play safety for or against one of the better teams in the AFC South, which isn't stacked with talent or anything, but it's still a pretty amazing story when you think about it.
Yeah, it's crazy to think about, man. I mean, this guy's basically straight up said no to chemo. He said, "Screw that. I'm not going to do it. I'm going to fight this without it." And it makes you kind of wonder with the Quisenberry thing, like, could he have tried to do that? I doubt it because, let's be honest, different cancers are harder on the body. That's just the reality of it. Cancer still sucks. Don't get me wrong, but just I don't think David Q could have. I don't think he could have come back from that in the natural sense. You know what I mean? Compared to what Hal did, he did come back. He gave up that touchdown to Yeldon when on that fluke ass play, but I mean, honestly, he looked really good. He was energetic, and I gotta be honest with you. In my personal opinion, I think his return was the spark that defense needed because they
Yeah,
looked way better
yeah,
today than I've seen all season long. The amount of blitzes that the Honey Badger was coming on,
Whew.
he blitzed like it seemed like almost 12 times that game. He was just always blitzing, man.
And he got to the
And
quarterback.
yeah, he just they just all of them looked like they had an extra pep in their step. I mean, when Clowney would get in the backfield, he'd kind of sit there for a second, not celebrating, but looking like he's kind of favoring a knee or an ankle, and then he would get up or jog off the field and just move on. And I think, in my opinion, maybe Clowney kind of said, "Oh, dude, this dude fought off cancer, and I'm worried about all my bullshit. No, this isn't gonna happen." So it's a great story. I'm really glad to see him back. He adds depth at safety and corner position, so it was a needed thing. And I think if you asked him, and everyone's been asking him, but I mean, if you asked him personally, one on one, what was the hardest challenge? And I wouldn't even think it would be the physical part. It had to be the mental part because he's
Yeah.
doing it unconventionally. He's doing it without chemotherapy, which is a huge strain. If no one knows what chemotherapy is, I hope like hell they never have to do it in their lives. It's just to me, it's as close to death as you can get without actually dying because it's bad. It's horrible in your system, and it just takes a lot out of you. So kudos for him. God works in mysterious ways, and definitely, man, this guy just shows you when you put your mind to something, it can be done. You just have to want to. That's what I love about it.
Yeah, and that's a really good point that you bring up that it was probably the spark that this defense, one, needed, and two, was the result of how well they played today because they played phenomenal. And, I wish they play like that every week because they looked pretty spectacular. But before we get on to the actual substance of the game, Deshaun Watson, one of the bigger stories heading into the game was he actually didn't travel with the team via airplane. He took a bus to Jacksonville because the Texans medical staff was worried how the air pressure would affect his bruised lung and ribs. So that was I'm not gonna lie, when I read that heading into the game I was a little worried. I was like, okay, now we know for sure this guy's dealing with something. Like they're not keeping it under wraps anymore. This is a thing. So yeah, that was pretty interesting to read heading into the game, especially against the Jaguars defense, who is no joke.
Yeah, I think what's funny about that is if you watch the game today, he just looked more comfortable, more relaxed. Almost to me, it's like, all right, let's be honest. Everyone can basically be themselves in the NFL, but let's be honest. When you're around teammates, coaches, you got to put on a kind of a show. You know what I mean? You got to, your best foot forward, your most professional foot forward. But just think about it. You don't travel with the team. You got no coaches around you. You can sit there for 12 hours, relaxing, doing whatever he was. And I guarantee what he was doing was watching film.
Yeah.
Guarantee it. Guarantee it. Watching film and not having Bill O'Brien in the background pecking at his brain, saying, oh, yeah, that's great. But if you think about, like, to me, it was really cool. And it's funny that this story comes out because two things. One, okay, yeah, we get it. He's hurt. And he's playing hurt. And that guy's a beast for even trying to play hurt with an abysmal offensive line and just taking it in stride. That's number one. Number two, I think it's funny because Phillip Rivers, for those who don't know, he is actually doing the same thing because the Chargers, I keep calling them San Diego, the Chargers don't have a home. Phillip Rivers lives in San Diego. He literally drives back and forth from San Diego and Los Angeles. And anyone who's ever lived in Los Angeles or San Diego area, I did. I was stationed there for many years. I-5 is a son of a bitch. It sucks. I'm talking what would take probably a 30, 40-minute drive will take you an hour and a half, 2 hours easy, just based on traffic. It is horrible. But he's doing the same thing that Deshaun did. He's taken he basically got kind of a party bus. He pimped it out, and whoever's his backup, him and his backup, take a ride in that thing, and they watch film and they watch what's going on. And look, their only 2 losses this year were against the Chiefs, who are pretty freaking good, and the Rams, who are arguably the best team in the league right now. So obviously, whatever he's doing he's doing it right. And so I just think it's funny that it just goes to show that being around the teammates all the time isn't always the answer. Taking a step back, still doing your job, but people having the faith that you're doing your job when you're not there and not micromanaging you. And maybe there's a little bit to that. So it'll be interesting to see how it goes from this point forward.
Yeah, and like you said, he just looked so. I mean, I was surprised with everything he's dealing with. The guy was out there smiling. He was interacting and exchanging pleasantries with some of the Jacksonville defenders. He did a few push-ups after he took a hit, and he was knocked to the ground. His lineman asked him, "Are you all right?" And he just started doing a bunch of push-ups, and he smiled when he got back up. I mean, and he didn't have a terrible game, but he didn't have a great game either. So, but it was still nice to see that he was at least comfortable, and he was, it seemed like he was at least having fun out there.
0 turnovers.
The
0.
best stat of the night. And I will take a Deshaun Watson passing for under 200 yards with 0 interceptions and a win over a nail biter and 400 yards and 2 interceptions any day. I will take that.
Absolutely. I totally agree with you. That, to me, what people miss about the whole line, yeah, they won a great game and they played a great game and the defense played a great game. Offense, Lamar Miller, wow, found another gear today. It was Will Fuller, wow, was running through people. Like, I was like, oh man, that's crazy. Yeah. But I think it kills me that no one's really talking. Dude, 0 turnovers. 0. Nothing. You didn't give up anything. It's amazing what happens with this team when they're fully healthy and they give no turnovers and Bill O'Brien doesn't shoot us in the foot. It's amazing what happens.
Yeah, I
We made
mean,
a very solid team look pretty mediocre today. And
mhm.
that's you got to hang your hat to them, man. You just do.
Yeah, and like you said, Bill O'Brien, I mean, this was probably and again, I don't think he called a great game. I don't think he called a terrible game. I think he called smack in the middle, a decent football game. And even a decent football game when you call it for a team with the caliber of talent that you have right now, look what happens. That was not even that wasn't great play calling. Like I said, it's middle tier play calling, and you get that from this roster. That says it all right there. So Bill O'Brien, I was this was probably his best game of the season by far as play calling. Um, and I think a big chunk of that was because he finally established his style of football that he wants to play. He wants to pound that rock in. He doesn't want to throw out an exuberant amount of passes. He wants to power run that football down your throat, and he will let Deshaun throw it every now and then. And like you said, Lamar Miller took this game over in the run game. He was dragging the Jaguars with him all over the gridiron. And it took me by surprise. This was his first 100-yard rushing game since 2016, I believe. That is ridiculous to not have a 100-yard rushing game since then. Um, but yeah, I think a big part of the success for O'Brien today was he finally got his style of football out there. He got it to be productive, and it worked. It worked against this team today. It worked against Jacksonville, and you
I
can't really flake him for it.
yeah, I think to me, what Texans fans were waiting for was the defense we saw today with the offense we saw at Seattle last year. That's what they're waiting for. If and it's slowly but surely getting to that point. And if we click at the right time, we're dangerous. And that's the scary part. We're not there yet. It's like we're still kind of finding the mesh point, the gel point, if you will. It's like we're still shaking off the last bit of rust, and everyone's starting to finally find themselves and get comfortable. But it's like I said at the beginning of the year, rack defenses traditionally start off real slow, and then right about mid-season, which is about where we're at, all of a sudden they're killers. And look what happens. A healthy roster, Bill O'Brien not shooting us in the foot, 0 turnovers equals wins, man. Equals wins. To me, that should have been a shutout. Or at
Oh
least
yeah,
20-3. That fluke play, hey, great play by Kessler, great awareness. I get great catch by Yeldon for the dude. That was a killer catch. And that kind of got lost with the play call being under review because that was one hell of a catch. Because if he didn't catch that, J.J. was going to catch that from behind because
yeah.
he was diving for it too. And, at first, because the play was so bang, I thought J.J. did pick it off. Because I was like, dude, there's no way Yeldon got that. No, he snagged that right out of the – oh, my God, okay. So, I mean, but think about that. I mean, I understand it's Blake Bortles, and I understand it's Jacksonville's offense. They're out without Leonard Fournette. I get that. But like we've been dealing with as Houston fans for years, injuries happen. Injuries are a part of the game. It's just, and again, a win's a win. Funny thing about Bill O'Brien is the press conference after the game. Did you catch that?
I caught bits and pieces. I didn't catch all of Bill's, but I did see
Oh,
Deshaun's.
so I think a gentleman named Jerome, I think he works for the Chronicle, asked him a question about Bill calling a better game, and Bill went off. He goes, "What do you mean a better?" Like, dude, seriously, he went off. Like, he was kind of cringeworthy. He just like, "What do you mean? Well, what do you call a good game?" Like, because I call a good game a win. Just totally. He was really level, really cool, really calm, normal Bill O'Brien press conference, and all of a sudden he went like he was talking to his players, just went off, just went off, and like the guys just, I mean, the press conference really slowed down after that because he just looked like he was about to blow a gasket, and I think that's pretty funny because in his mind he had a great game plan, and it was executed with 0 turnovers. And to him, that's very hard. He even said in the interview, you know how hard it is, Jerome? Do you know how hard it is to actually coach and win in the NFL? It's, to me, it's arguably the hardest thing to do in professional sports. Every other sport is pretty individual, but this is a team sport. Like, you're like, dude, calm down, man. Bill, he's gonna have a Kubiak and have a stroke right there. And like, he was killed. Like, I was like, oh my God, calm down, man. Billy, you're going crazy. Leave it alone. But I guess back to my point, it's when you have continuity and you have consistency, and your team believes that they are what they are, this team is going to be dangerous, man. It's going to be dangerous, and if I'm really curious to see what they do on short rest because they play Thursday. I'm curious to see if they have that same fire or what the injuries are. But I always say move the needle when you get past 500. Well, first in the division, we got to beat Tennessee one time for me to feel a little more comfortable. But so far so good. We keep moving in the right direction, and to me, their schedule compared to Jacksonville and Tennessee is going to get a lot easier, or it's easier than what their schedules are. So to me, I mean, it's yours for the taking. It's just, do you want it? And I have a question for you about this game.
Okay.
When Deshaun Hopkins, well, yeah, when Hopkins goes against Ramsey, what do you think? Do you think it's a rivalry or no?
I say no. I've never seen any true animosity there. I think it's just a rivalry competition wise, but I don't see any true. I don't see Odell versus Norman. I don't see that. So I think they respect each other's game. I think it's pure competition, but I don't see any sort of rivalry. Now, from a hardcore football perspective, yeah, it's a stylistic matchup that you're really interested to see because these are two of the better guys on either position going one-on-one. And I think Hopkins absolutely made Ramsey his dog on that one play. That was ridiculous, that catch. But no, I don't think it is a true rivalry to get hyped up about like we said with Beckham and Norman. No.
Right. And because I did it again. Jesus. Well, it's because I had something I want to talk about Watson, but I'm going to go with Hopkins instead. Well, Hopkins and Clowney were doing like a tandem interview after the game as well. And someone asked him about the rivalry with Ramsey, and he goes, "Right, what rivalry?" He goes, "I don't like. What do you mean? I don't care who's in front of me. I'm just going to win because I feel like I'm the best in the league in my position. And if it happens to be against someone who's the best at their position in this league, and I do better than he does, hey, it is what it is." He goes, what's their record when he's going up against me? And he just waited for the answer, because in his mind he doesn't care. Like, it's not a rivalry to him. It doesn't matter who's across from him. And to me, that is what separates Hopkins from everyone else as wide receiver position. Because Antonio Brown would have said something stupid, right? I mean, let's just go down the list. Julio Jones probably would have said something dumb. You just go down the list of all these wide receivers that are supposedly better than Deshaun.
Odell Beckham definitely would have said something stupid.
Yeah. But I mean, just D-Hop is a beast, man. His ability to make people look stupid. That touchdown catch he had against Ramsey, that was one-on-one. He straight helmet slapped the dude. He helmet slapped him, and Ramsey just looked like totally deflated in the end zone afterwards. And I'm sitting there wondering, if I was Hop, I would have turned around and talked so much crap to him. But that's not what Hop does. Hop does it by his play. And if someone asks him a question about it, he'll just be like, I just feel like I'm the best in the game. What do you want me to do? And that's what I love about him. He's confident, but he's not too overconfident. He just plays whoever's across from him. And that's what I love about him.
Yeah, I mean, he had a great game today. Touchdown. He had a highlight reel catch that's probably going to be on SportsCenter tonight. I mean, my God.
That catch was sick, man. That catch was, oh my God, man.
Yeah, and as far as is it a rivalry? I mean, hey, these guys are in the same division and they're going to be with their teams for a good few years. Maybe it'll turn into something, but for right now, it's pure competition, pure stylistic matchup. Um, but today Hopkins got the better of him for sure. I mean,
And I honestly can't remember one game where Jalen completely shut down Hawkins.
neither can
Let's
I.
let's just be honest. There's one game where you could possibly go his way, but right now, if this was a boxing match, it's in his favor at this point. So
Yeah, and offensive side of the ball, with Deshaun Watson, like we said, didn't have a great game, didn't have a terrible game either. There were a few little things that I can be nitpicky about. There were two passes in particular, wide open passes to both Hopkins and Fuller that he just flat out missed. I think he held on to the ball as usual, a little too long sometimes, took some unnecessary sacks as well. Offensive line had its moments where it was absolutely atrocious again, gave up some unnecessary sacks. You can't demand perfection from the personnel that they have with the front five right now. You just can't. But Deshaun has to be a little smarter. He had issues with the play clock today twice. Bill O'Brien had to bust him out with a timeout at one point. He had to call a timeout because they were running late. The second one, I believe Fuller got back to the huddle very late because he was winded from running so much. But even at that, the commentator on the broadcast was talking about Fuller, but they were at the line. He could have snapped it with I think he had 5 seconds to snap, and he just didn't do it. I think he was taking a little too long to read that defense, but hey, they took the 5-yard penalty, and that was that. But those are really the only little nitpicky things that I think he's just going to have to get better with time. This guy is still, in my opinion, you can make the case he is still in his rookie season. He has not played a full season in the NFL yet. He's still young. He's still fresh from college. So you have to give him some time to adapt to the NFL game still. But yeah, as far as, Watson's, performance today, I can't really dog him too bad as much as he didn't toss up anything crazy in the end zone and turn it over. He looked pretty relaxed out there, like we said, from as relaxed as he can be with that O-line. So can't really dog him too much. But defensive side of the ball, my goodness, Jadeveon Clowney took this game over from the jump. From the jump, I mean, he was single-handedly stuffing the Jaguars' run game for the longest time. It was amazing to me to see this guy just go to town.
With Clowney, man, you take the good with the bad. Just like Watson, you take the good with the bad. Just like offense, you take the good with the bad. There's times when he looks unblockable, and there are other times when he's just not there. You can't say enough about his effort. I mean, the guy's playing. I mean, again, one of my biggest things with him is his effort. But when he plays, it's almost like what I notice with Clowney is if someone doesn't piss him off, he's not going to be a factor. I mean that, in all honesty. But when he gets pissed off, or he gets amped up for a game, he's unstoppable. There's no question about it. As much as I dog the guy, I can't. Look at the game today. It was just up the middle blitzes. Oh my God, dude! Like, he just destroyed that guard. He took a stutter move and made that guard look ridiculous. 1-on-1 against you and no, you're dead, dude. You're done. And it just, you can't help it. J.J. Watt looks again as disruptive as always. Guess who showed up today? Whitney Merciless. What did I say? Mid-season to late season, he shows up.
Yeah.
Guess where he showed up? The place he made the most of his most time of. Guess where it was at? Weak side outside linebacker. Damn, I love being right. I'm just saying, man, this is what we've been expecting all season long. This is exactly what we've been talking about all season long. The defensive side of the ball, I have the only complaint. Romeo Cannell, for love of God, when it's 3rd and 4, please don't give 10-yard splits. Please. I'm begging you. Please don't run prevent zone at the end of the game when you have a lead. I'm begging you, because after that, you started running man, you started moving the guys up to the line, and they couldn't do anything. Just please don't do that. That's the only nitpick I have on defense. As far as offense goes, man, the O line. Oh my God, I can't say enough. I just it's like I said, bipolar. The run game looked great. The pass game looked horrible. It's like we're almost like the O line was gassed, if that makes any sense at all. It's like, okay, we can run block with the best of them. And as a former offensive lineman, I can tell you, run blocking is a lot harder than pass blocking because you're trying to exert another 300-pound man across from you off your spot, and it's not easy. So, in all honesty, just very little things to nitpick about today. I can't. We're not all negative, not every week. I know that sounds hard for the people that listen to us, but there's not, when you have a game like this, there's not a lot we can say, and there's a whole bunch we can be excited about. And I'm starting to get more excited about this team and what they're capable of. That was a solid win today, no matter how you slice it.
Yeah, and I think it was last week that I said there has not been a win yet. On a 3-game, last week when they beat Buffalo, they were on a 3-game win streak. There had not been a game or a win that I had been excited about in over a year. Today was that first win that I enjoyed it. I enjoyed that victory.
Totally agree.
I could walk away from the TV set and think, man, that was a good win. We weren't handed that victory today. We took that W. So that was the first in a while. And I think a perfect single word that can, define this game is optimism. Because we're 4-3 right now at the top of the AFC South. You just beat arguably who was going to be your toughest competitor in the division, and you did it handily. So, and when you look at the schedule, I personally believe Miami can be a trap game because you got Brock Osweiler coming in with bad blood, for sure, against Bill O'Brien. He beat a bad, I honestly believe he truly hates this man. And he beat the Bears, who, say what you want about the organization, but they're a very good defense. I don't know what happened when they went over there against Miami. They let Brock Osweiler hang with them in overtime. I think any day of the week that team can just stuff them. But for whatever reason, Brock Osweiler took them. And I don't remember. Did you see the score for their Lions game today? I didn't see who won.
No.
Well, I'm going to have to look back at that. But yeah, I don't know. And it's short notice. You're going from Sunday to Thursday game. I don't know. But when you look at the rest of their schedule, the Texans have a fairly easy schedule. Everything's in the right place. The team played well today. If you can keep that momentum going the rest of the season against these teams, man, we could be looking at the playoffs, which is crazy to say with how we started the season. But we thought we were going to win maybe a handful of games, which is still possible. It's still possible. We don't know. But if this team can play like this the rest of the way out, there's a possibility we could win this division and sneak our way into the playoffs.
All right. As far as old 17 coming back, I know there's bad blood. It's there. I would not be shocked if he came out and had a crazy game. I just wouldn't. But at the same time, and it's not even because it's Brock, it's Gase. Gase scares me as a coordinator. And the way Rock's playing his defense, well, I can't say that anymore because they look good today. So I don't know. I'm way more optimistic now than I have been in the past, especially. And again, Miami's a sneaky team. I agree with that, but man, Brock is Brock, dude. Let's just be honest. I just find it hard to believe that he would come into Houston and light us up, dude. As much as pissed off as he can be, I just don't see it, man. I mean, yeah, they took it to Chicago, but let's be honest, Chicago does not have Jadeveon Clowney and Watt and Merciless and the Honey Badger. I mean, they're all going to be, but They don't have what we have. Let's just be honest. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens, man.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm hoping. I'm wrong. Maybe it's just the history that this team is very inconsistent. That I can't really come into a game and think, oh man, because from what I've experienced, these guys, when they fight the hard teams, they play very well, and sometimes they even trounce them. But it's when the teams they should beat, they're either in a gunfight with them or they get beat. I mean, look at Buffalo. We should have destroyed Buffalo. We barely beat them. Same thing with Tennessee. A hindered Tennessee team. We should have beat them. And those guys were playing with backup offensive linemen, a backup quarterback. I mean, and we still barely won. Or no, we didn't even win. We lost. We lost to it. We lost to Blaine Gabbert. Let that sink in. That still stings, by the way. But yeah, the team, they can look great one week and then completely crumble the next. I really hope they carry this momentum into Thursday and they get off to a hot start, because if they don't, they're going to lose all confidence. They're going to get sluggish, and that's going to be the tone that you set for the rest of that game.
They play to their talent. That's what Houston does. I mean, to echo on what you just said, just keep this in mind. Indianapolis trounced Buffalo today. Put that in perspective. That's scary when you think about it, because it's like, okay, well, we should have destroyed both of these teams. Like, I don't get it, man. Like, it's crazy. That's why the NFL seems. The NFL this year, there's no real, other than maybe the Rams, there's no real dominant team out there right now. I mean, everyone has that 1 or 2 weeks in a row where they just look abysmal, and then they come back and they look pretty crazy. I mean, look at the Texans. The Texans are a classic example of that.
Look at the Patriots. So, the Patriots had a terrible start to the season. Absolutely terrible. I think today they broke even when they beat the Bears.
Yeah.
But Tom Brady and the Patriots, they lost to Detroit, to the Lions. I mean, my goodness. I didn't see that coming at all.
I don't think anyone did.
But well, as we usually do, heading into Thursday, quick game, quick turnaround, facing Miami, coming off a hot game against the Jaguars. What is your prediction for Thursday night? Prime time. Keep in mind, this is prime time. They don't have the best record in primetime football.
I'm going to go 24-17 Houston.
Okay. I will. This is one of the tougher ones.
The prime time throws it into a whole other stratosphere.
It really does, because I again, on paper, these guys should put up some serious numbers against Miami, but I think your prediction of 24, but I'm gonna say 10. I'll say 24-10, because I think the defense can hold Brock Osweiler to maybe 1 touchdown and a field goal. And I believe the Texans can put up 24 points against them. So I'll say 24-10 Houston. But certainly going to be an interesting game to see, man. I hope they can really stay on this hot streak and just ride it out, because the schedule really does play a huge part. It's very much in their favor going forward.
Very much. Yep.
But with that being said, let's move on to a much more depressing topic. The Astros.
God, I'm going to start crying.
Done. I couldn't finish the game, to be honest with you. I had to turn it off in the 8th inning because I knew the writing was on the wall. I had to turn it off. I didn't want to see Jose Altuve sad. That breaks my heart when you see little Jose Altuve sad. And I heard his post game, comments, and I was like, my heart stung to hear that little guy so sad.
And And it doesn't help when Josh Ennis does little Jose Altuve skit on his show when he plays that sad, like Sarah McLachlan music in the background and he's just talking. It's like, poor little Altuve. Oh my God, it was a good skit, but damn, that sucked.
The part that made it worse was he said something like, imagine Jose going to Disneyland and them turning him away saying, sorry, kid, winners only.
Oh, no. Oh, my God.
Oh, that's terrible. But one thing I wanted to talk about, heading into the beginning of this series, Alex Bregman was extremely confident. And he went, the whole controversy with the Instagram story and all that stuff, and, you know, do you think he was too cocky?
I think he bit off a little more than he could chew. I think Boston made it its personal mission to make him go over for pretty much 10 to 11 at-bats in the last 2 games of the series. He didn't do, other than the defense, other than that, he didn't do really a damn thing. He was a ghost. He should have, in his post-game review, his remarks about injuries, you know, and again, Josh Ennis even pointed this out on the show, you know, winners don't say crap like that. You know, it's the injuries, or they could, you were more injured last year, went through more problems last year than you did this year. Don't talk about injuries. And then to back it up, you did not even come close. I mean, let's put this in perspective. Let's say that diving catch with bases loaded, let's say it drops. He clears the bases, he wins the game. This would be probably a different conversation right now.
Much different.
And that momentum could have definitely shifted. Because Houston plays better away than they do at home. They've always been like that, or at least for the last couple of seasons anyways. So you were telling me they would have went to Boston and put I'm telling you, man, it would have been a different scenario. For whatever reason, Yuri Gurriel does not hit well at home when there's pressure on him. He had a horrible series. Bregman did not have a great series. The defense, to me, costed us 2 games. Pass balls, you got hit batters. George Springer missing a defensive play against the wall that he normally makes routinely throughout the season. Like, we ran into a buzzsaw, man. We ran into a team that just wanted it more. Basically, it was like looking in the mirror. Boston, to me, looked like the Houston from last year. That's as much as that pains me to say. That's exactly what it looked like.
Mookie Betts, what a ball player, man. He had a great series. And you know what? I can't even hate the guy because I've personally never seen him do anything I dislike. I see a guy who goes out there and just plays ball, man. And he is a phenomenal player. I can't dislike the guy. I hope one day, somehow, some way, he ends up on the Houston roster. But my God, he had a tremendous series, and he really, really, really just flat out owned us.
Well, one of the things that was bugging me, you know, after the first couple of games, actually I say after game 3, was don't pitch to Bradley. Whatever you do, for the love of God, do not pitch to Bradley. Because that guy kept destroying us. He had 7 RBIs in 2 games. I mean, the writing's in it, don't pitch to him. But you kept doing it. Like, I don't, you know, you can blame Hinch a lot, but I really don't want to. I just think we came in with a lot of confidence and we got humble checked. It's that simple. We ran into a team that was us last year, and they just took it to us. And there's nothing you can say about it. You know, oh, the family returned without Tuber's homer, dude, it don't matter. It wouldn't have made a big difference on the scoreboard, quite frankly. Yeah, it kind of shut down the inning, but for the most part, you still lost. You had many chances since that play happened throughout the game to make it a game, and you didn't. Even AJ Hinch said that after his post game. He said, dude, you know what? We had plenty of chances after that to do something. So, yeah, you know, you could kind of say those 2 runs kind of really mattered, but realistically, we had chances to do it. And they didn't get it done. They flat out didn't get it done. I mean, we called it in 5, It was just the
Wrong
wrong way
team.
around. I mean, we were absolutely right, just partially wrong.
Yeah.
It's madness, man.
The pitching. I mean, for the
Ugh.
best pitching staff in the league, we played. I mean, it was atrocious. Verlander was the biggest surprise for me. That first game, my God, Cole, same thing. I mean, I did not see one good game of pitching in this series, and there were so many just things that you just scratch your head and you're like, what? What is this? What are we watching? This is not the team that we are used to. And when you decide to crumble, it is on the biggest possible stage that you could do so. And I know Hinch is not to blame 100% for this, but he's also not 100% not to blame either. I think a lot of decisions as far as pitching rotation, I mean, I think you should have left Verlander in there a little longer the first game. I think the same thing with Keuchel. Keuchel had an atrocious first few innings in game 3, I believe it was, and he slowly started to settle in, get into his own groove, and once he starts to settle in, Hinch pulls him, which I don't get. I mean, if your guy can go out there and pitch clean, I mean, consistently well, till the end of the game even, then leave him in there. If he plays the whole game, he plays the whole game. It's playoff baseball. This is not the time to be conservative. If you can leave your guy in there for the entirety of the game and he can give you a good game in turn, then keep him in. I don't see the point in trading him out like that.
It's really bad I mean, in that regard, you should have known that this could have possibly been one of Keuchel's last games as a Houston Astro. And I mean, any chance, even if we wanted to re-sign him, which I don't think we do, but even if we went, I mean, he's going to look at that and go, no, man, my manager pulled me just when I settled into my groove. Why would I want to stay here for that? You know, it would not be surprising. I'm not joking if you don't see Dallas in either Boston, LA, or New York this coming off season. I'm not joking because you know he has no reason to stay here. His A status is gone, basically. He pretty much starts off slow for the most part, and then ends up doing pretty good towards the end of the season. Playoffs, he's kind of 50-50 guy. He's not Andy Pettit or anything like that, but I mean, he's still a solid arm. And like you said, yeah, he had a pretty rough outing at the beginning, but then he settled down, and he was starting to find a really good rhythm. Only for you to yank him. What the hell is going on here? And by the way, if Lance McCullers is injured, why the hell did you put him on the roster? I don't understand that. Here's another question. Josh James, for as much time as he has, why did you leave him out there as long as you did?
Yep.
You were way late on that. You know, it's so funny because you know a lot of people, well, the refs kind of screw us. Well, yeah, kind of. I mean, let's be honest. Joe West is Cowboy Joe is he's kind of a jerk, dude. No one really
Hell of a
likes him.
country singer, though.
Yeah, apparently Ryan Taylor knows that. Yeah. Ryan Taylor knows the trick, and he hates umps. So, I mean, you know, but to me, you know, when you watch the calls, like, I don't know if you noticed this, but Price was getting a lot of calls that our pitchers were not getting. As far as nibbling on the outside, same pitch, same spot, same location, he's getting the calls, and we're not?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it's kind of hard to sit there and try to not say, you know what, kind of Blues messed us up a bit. But, again, man, you have plenty of opportunities in those games, man. In my mind, you know, it's really hard to blame the Zebras or the Blues for, you know, costing you a game in any professional sport unless it's, like, blatantly obvious. And just be honest, arms are right more times than they're not. That's just how it is. I mean, they have a hard job to do as it is, and I'm not going to hinge my season on whether an umpire got the right call or not.
Yeah, like you said, I mean, it's kind of hard. You don't want to sit there and say, oh, we lost. You don't want to be that guy and say, oh, the only reason we lost is because the refs had it out for us. You look at these games, it's hard not to say that there was a bit of favoritism towards Boston. But at the end of the day, even Hinch said it himself. That is not what lost us these games. It's just not. They
Right.
didn't execute flat out. So we could have won those games regardless of the refing out there, but we just didn't. And like you said, Boston just they wanted it more. The team that wanted it more took it, which is it's a tough pill to swallow, but that's the reality of it. And as far as these two teams that are left, you got the Dodgers and you got Boston. I despise them both. If there was a way for them to
Yeah.
both lose, I hope they could both lose. But I will still be watching as a fan of baseball and just enjoy some good quality baseball. But I'm very impartial. I will be very indifferent to how this series plays out. These are two teams that I simply despise. So we'll see how it plays out. I'm personally picking Boston to win. As much as it pains me to say it, I think that they take it. I think they're the better team. But we'll see. It should be a good series.
I'm picking Boston strictly on because I can't stand LA and everything that comes from LA, and I just don't like basically California in general. Just to be honest with you, and two because if Boston wins it, I can honestly say, hey, we're up to the eventual World Series champions.
um,
Again, glass half full.
yeah. This now shifts us into season's over. We're heading into the off season. We're heading into free agency, draft, all that good stuff. Um, as far as who's leaving, we already mentioned Keuchel. But who do you think the Astros will retain? I personally believe Keuchel's gone. I don't see any point in retaining him. To be honest with you, I say you should probably go out there and see if you can find you a third guy that kind of keep that three-man rotation going, an upgrade, if you will. But who do you see like Morton? I believe Morton could possibly leave as well, if I remember correctly. But who do you think we retain? Who do you think are the guys that we say, okay, we're keeping these guys here?
I actually say we retain Morton, honestly. I would first lose two of our starting rotation. That's hard. That's hard for me to swallow. It's hard for me to imagine that Luna would allow that to happen. In all honesty, I think that I don't see a lot of changes. If you want me to be honest with you, I see this retaining more than losing more. Um, as a matter of fact, as far as retention goes, I'm actually not really worried about who we retain or not. I'm actually more about who we acquire more than anything. Again, I have been saying this since the beginning of the season, and Maldonado just made it absolutely 100% even more of a dream for me. But I want Real Muto from Miami. I want him bad to come here and be our everyday catcher. You have no idea. I honestly think this guy is going to be a continual all-star catcher for the rest of his career, and he's got the tools. He's like one of the few five-tool, if there's any no five-tool, one of the few five-tool players out there at the catcher position, meaning they can catch, they can field, they can run. The guy can steal bases, dude. Are you serious? As a catcher? You're shitting me, right? Like, I mean, just think about it. Like, he does everything. He's got a great cannon arm. He can call a good game. He's good at blocking the play. He does everything well. Like, there's not anything that he has that's a big negative in his armor, so to speak. Like, so I'm really hoping that Luna, because they were talking about acquiring him this year, and Trey Fox fizzled out. So now I'm like, oh, okay. So here we go. Obviously, McCann is on his last legs. Monrado's got the answer. We have a few guys in the minor staff who could possibly come back. I don't know. He's kind of always up and down in major minor. He kind of reminds me of like what's his name? Humberto Quintero. Emily Quintero. All those years, like always up and down, Triple A majors. And that's who Sassy is to me, quite honestly. So I just think, going out, give me some kind of starting left-hander, and give me a starting catcher and I think I'm okay with keeping everyone else on and not going too crazy, spending a whole bunch of money, even though the market that we're in, we could be spending a lot of money on getting players. I don't want to be like New York or LA or Boston. To spend the amount of people or or overseas talent from like China or Korea or Mexico or Venezuela or anything like that. I just like all the Puerto Ricans. I don't want them to go out and try to find like some kind of crazy guy. So, but I think, as far as retention goes, man, I think they try to retain everyone except Keuchel. I don't think Keuchel was even a thought in their mind to retain, in all honesty.
Yeah, I don't think Keuchel's a priority for them whatsoever. I think they're ready to just let him walk. But yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens. Like I said, the team they have right now is still arguably the best team in baseball, and I expect them to be right back where they got to this season next year, and hopefully they're able to get back into the series. But this year just wasn't their year, as tough as that is to process. But yeah, so that is it for today. We talked about the Texans, talked about the Astros. We'll be covering their postseason moves and whatnot. We'll start talking about the Rockets. Now that that's kicked off, they got absolutely destroyed by the Pelicans, and then they spoiled LeBron James' homecoming in L.A. They're playing the Clippers right now, I believe. I'll have to check the score on that, but definitely some Rockets talk coming in the next few weeks.
Yeah, James hasn't watched any Rockets. That's why we talk about it.
But yeah, so we have Houston against Miami to look forward to on Thursday, which is gonna hit us very quickly in the next few days, and we'll see what the Texans are all about, man. Hopefully they can keep this up, and we can get on a decent little run to the playoffs. We're finally having a winning record at the moment, and that's nice to say right now.
Bill O'Brien is one win away from being a 500 coach in his career at Houston.
Which is terrible. Terrible.
I had to throw that in there.
Well, with that being said, James, you have anything you want to plug before we get out of here?
Yeah, thank you guys for, listening to us. You tell your friends, share on Facebook, all that good stuff. I have my own individual channel. Outside of this is Ray722442. I pretty much talk only Texans, and I do a lot of mock draft simulations and stuff like that. Draft prospecting, I'm in starting form. So I've already got a few guys to watch as far as their line goes. I have pretty good predictions on what people are looking like right now, but coming up on my channel and on this one, I might add, we'll be doing some draft simulators, things like that. In the future, old John Boy and I here are going to have a showdown on basically a draft simulation on the greatest football team that we can assemble in history, and the greatest baseball team that we can assemble in history, and I'm even going to push it to the greatest basketball team that we can assemble in history. We will have a round robin draft, basically, so to speak. We will have rules. We will go over those later, not right now, but we will have rules to it, so we can't have anything outlandish like saying Earl Campbell's a fullback type crap. We can't do that. So but it'll be fun. We're gonna get into that. We're gonna bring up two guys coming up. We're just trying to get all the cross the T's and dot the lowercase J's and all that good stuff. So, but thank you guys for coming out, and we appreciate it.
Yeah, and make sure to comment, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Leave us a review on iTunes. Help us out. Hopefully it's a 5-star one. For all your Texans news, make sure to visit TexansWire.com. I'm a writer over there for USA Today. We will see you next week. We are on to Miami.